Hi, this is Jackie Tomlin,
And I'm Ellie Lieberman.
and this is When
When
Spirit
Spirit
Speaks.
Speaks. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
Oh.
Yes, hope you all have had a wonderful week. Uh,
Yes.
as we move into several topics, I do want to open up with Ellie and I have been talking about making this a call-in show. For
Yes.
those interested in readings, and not necessarily a full reading, but maybe you've got a couple specific questions we can answer for you. So in the next week or so, we will be about midway of the show, we will open up the phone lines to take in these callers. So if you are interested, I ask that you email us, okay? And you're going to email at whenspiritspeakspodcast@gmail.com. And just say, you would like to get on it. We'll let you know when we're recording live, give you the number to call in. It's going to be fun. But that way, instead of having a guest on to do a full reading, we can get, a few of y'all in here with your
That'd be
question,
awesome.
you
Yep.
know?
It's on the fly, and I love that. I love being put on the spot. I do. I like that. And sometimes not seeing the person, it's even more clear. I'm just like blah blah blah.
Exactly. And you don't get one psychic, you get two. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Two
Yeah,
for one special.
that's right. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot
How
of
you doing? You feeling good? Mercury
I'm
retrograde's almost over.
I'm feeling good. I spoke earlier this week about the tower moments, those
Oh
tower
yeah.
card moments. And yeah, I know y'all are going through them. And we all are. We're in this together. We are right there with
Yes.
you.
You're
Uh,
never alone. Yeah.
you're never alone. You are never alone. And these retros, it's kind of weird because I usually tell you that this one's going to hit hard electronically or this one's going to hit hard financially. And this one was kind of even distributed.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I
You know?
agree.
And
I mean, I've had like, so like, check this out. So like people are like, oh, your exes are gonna come back and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, that didn't happen this time. This time I've had people I haven't talked to in like 20 years. It was
right.
like college, like
The
friends and
past is coming
stuff.
out. Yeah, the
Yeah,
past is
and it was
coming back.
positive. It wasn't bad at all. It was just I
Right.
was thinking of you. I can't believe you have the same phone number. That
Yes.
kind of thing. Really interesting. I think our topic today is dream interpretation, dreams, premonitions, and deja vu.
Yeah, I want to start there with the difference between a dream and a premonition.
Yes. People ask me this a lot.
And it is perfectly fine that y'all are having crazy dreams during retro.
Yeah.
Okay. Dream interpretation is one of my favorite things. It's one of the
Yes.
favorite services I offer. But I call it, you know what a Benadryl dream is? Have you ever taken
Yes.
Benadryl and
Where
gone
you're
to bed and
swimming. You feel like you're swimming.
anything goes on a Benadryl dream?
Yes.
Well, it's kind of the same way in retro for a lot of people without the Benadryl.
It's
So
true.
if you are
It's like
having
true.
these crazy dreams, don't feel that you're alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't feel that you're alone. But the premonition part is totally different.
It's a
Okay.
whole other feeling. It's a feeling. Um,
And what you're shown comes to pass.
yes. How do you know? What do you think is an indicator? I have my own, but I'm gonna let you go first. What do you think is an indicator between just dream soup and a premonition?
They're too real. They're
Yes.
too real. They're
Yes.
very, very real. And it's one of those dreams. It's not like a nightmare or anything, but you can't shake it.
You can't
You
shake it.
can't shake
You
it.
keep
You
thinking
can't
about it.
shake it. You
Mhm.
know? Let's say if I know my daughter's about to quit her job and get a new job. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
saw it in a dream, but the dream
Yep.
is different because it was like I was standing there.
Watching. So
Wasn't
that's the
Yeah, I
view.
wasn't in the
Okay.
dream,
I
but I
love this.
was in the dream.
So I call it a third party view.
Yes.
And when I'm having premonition dreams, which I'm not really a big dreamer, but when they do happen, I know the difference because I'm not a big dreamer.
Right.
And I'm always standing and watching. I'm not
But you're
really
there. You're there
I'm
in the
there, but I'm not
Yes.
involved. Like I'm
Right.
not involved directly. Called a
Right.
third party view. Um, then the other side of things also is like, how do I know if it's my past loved one or me just making it up in my head that they're coming into a dream? I
Yes.
always say that their mouth doesn't move. I've always
Right.
had that experience where I can hear them talking, it's telepathic, and their mouth isn't moving, but they're I can still hear what they're saying, and their body language is matching up with what they're saying, but their mouth
Right.
isn't moving.
Right.
That's a very
And that's
predictive.
another good point. Do we view when you have a dream from someone that's passed? I mean, yeah, in the psychic world, we view that as a visit.
I view that as a visit. I think it's very much, in some ways, a premonition. A premonition. In hypnotherapy, they address in the science of hypnotherapy that we have a precognitive and a premeditative
Yes.
part to
Yes.
our dreams.
Yes.
This is acknowledged by science that we can perceive things before they happen.
Yes. And it's really funny because I have a lot of people that will call me about a loved one that's passed, and they're like, I haven't had my dream yet. Okay. All right. There's a couple of different factors there. One, there's no time on the other side. Okay. So
Yes,
your 5 years could be their 5 minutes. Okay. The
exactly.
other thing is spirit is not going to allow a dream until you're ready.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tell that to people all the time. Yeah, your timing, your readiness. Well,
Your
one thing I
readiness may not be the readiness that spirit is looking for.
100%, because the amount of energy that it takes for spirit to connect and speak to you is massive. That's why when you see paranormal investigations, often they have some sort of energy machine creating energy and building it up so that the spirit can use that energy to connect. It's the same thing.
And
So
it,
it's hard. It's hard for spirit to connect. So they're not gonna waste their energy or time, you
well,
know.
one of the hardest losses I've ever had was losing my father. Okay.
Mm,
And he was my best friend.
mhm.
And so when he passed, it's kind of like I knew beyond a shadow of doubt he'd be visiting in a dream. And
Mhm.
time went on and time went on. Then I'm like every other client that calls me about this, I was frustrated. The dream has not happened.
Why aren't you coming to me?
I had been to spirit and said, what is the problem here? I am ready. I am ready.
Mhm.
Well, the funny thing about it, Ellie, the night it happened, and he comes to me and he's standing on this hill and he's yelling at me and he's yelling, Jackie, Jackie. And I'm standing with my back toward her. And I look over my shoulder and I said, I'm not ready for this.
No,
I woke up so mad. I did not sleep for days. I was
I
so
mean
mad. I'm like,
your
because he
subconscious mind
walks off
speaks louder.
laughing. He walks off laughing. And I wake up and I am freaking living. I'm like, did you seriously tell him you are not ready for this? You
The
are
cool,
so ready for this.
the cool thing, this is your personality, so this
Yeah.
is not surprising. The cool thing I can say, one of the most profound experiences I've had in dreams, especially in premonitions and things like that, is I did not have a very good relationship with my grandmother, and I thought she was going to haunt me. I really did. I was really worried, just being a psychic person and knowing energy and knowing what it's like to have unresolved business as a soul, and having that. I
Mhm.
was terrified. I remember calling my mother being like, she's going to haunt me. She's going to haunt me. And she's like, no, she's not. You're just being, all these things. And I had to get over all of that before
Right.
she actually visited me. And so that timing is there. And when she did, it is to date the most powerful experience I have had with spirit.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
was so beautiful. It was so healing. She was in her element. I could tell you where I was standing. I could tell you like how slow the flowers were moving. I was in slow mo the whole time. It was really
Absolutely.
beautiful. And I'm grateful. It gave me such peace. It gave me such resolve. I'm really glad. And her mouth was not moving. It was just a moment in
I
time.
I was able to provide my family with some huge answers. We lost one of my grandmothers in a car accident.
Mm.
Okay. And when you lose someone in a car accident, there's so many unanswered questions.
Oh, yes.
It was a head-on collision, but it was her fault.
Oh, that's even worse. It's just so heavy.
So it was like, what caused her to veer off in that lane? There were so
Mm,
many guesses or whatever. They draw the vials of blood to see the cause of death, if she's had a heart attack or something prior to it.
yeah.
Those vials were broken in transport.
What? Oh
So
my
there's no
gosh.
answers. There was no answers. And this lingered around for a long time. And of course, the family says, "Oh, she's coming to you," because she was one of the psychics in the family.
Got
And
it.
they're like, "She is absolutely coming to you." Well, she never did. And it was
Interesting.
heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because I learned so much from her as far as abilities, and
You would think that she would have come to you
it
in that
was
way.
and it
Spirit on the other
devastated
side
my
does what it
grandpa,
wants. Yeah,
because my grandpa was a mechanic. Okay. He felt it was something to do with the car. He always felt it was something to do with the
of
car.
course.
To the fact that, yeah, we had to have that car taken to the junkyard right away to keep him from going over it. And it was like, wow, 15
Yeah.
years later, my grandpa died. Ironically,
Interesting.
I was his care provider. Okay. My grandpa died, and I was very much at peace. He was a wonderful man. He lived a very full life,
Yeah.
went very peacefully in his sleep. It was very peaceful, and everybody was ready. He had the dementia. So,
Okay.
okay, so
Yes.
everybody was ready, and it was very peaceful. And I swear to you, Ellie, within 2 months, my grandmother appears to me in a dream.
Oh,
And
interesting. Maybe she had to wait.
she says, "Honey, I need you to ride with me." And it's the morning she died, and we get in the car and we ride. And as we're going down the road, right before the accident happens, her steering wheel's shaking. It's doing this. And she has no control, and that car is veering over. And of
Interesting.
course, but the moment of impact, I'm not in the car. I'm
No.
standing on the bank with my grandmother and my grandpa. And there's my grandpa peeling the apple, with his little pocket knife going, "Jackie, it's the damnedest thing. Do you know what happened?" He says, "Let me tell you what happened so you can tell the rest of the family." And I said, "Okay." He said, "The motor mount broke. The left
Mm,
back motor mount broke, and it went through the steering column." Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not a mechanic. We'll roll with that.
oh,
So
yeah. I love when that happens, when
I
it sounds
take
like
that
gibberish, but you know.
information to my uncle, which is their son. And he looks up and he comes to my house with this Chilton book and says, "Look exactly what happened. Look at the
Oh,
placement of this. Look at the
interesting.
placement of that."
Interesting.
And he's like, I said, "Well, 15 years later, we have the answer." And I said, "And it would have drove my grandpa nuts. This is why she didn't come to me with that answer.
Makes sense. Makes
It would
sense.
have drove him nuts." And it all made
And
sense. And
sometimes
it bought me more peace, but it bought the entire
our
family.
family piece, like
Yeah.
like 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 the title of our podcast, when spirit speaks. Spirit speaks on its own time, especially during dreams and things like that. When we're having premonitions, it can be very jarring, especially if it's the first time. I find a lot of times it does involve someone who's passed or familiar people, things that are very familiar, so that you feel safe when you're third party viewing.
Yeah.
How often do you get deja vu?
More often than not, and I'm gonna be real honest with you, deja vu is what made me believe in past lives. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I'm
For
not
our
a past
listeners.
life reader. And so when you come to me and tell me I was this king of England or whoever I was or whatever, I'm like,
Yeah, whatever. I know. Hard for you to grasp.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have problems with past life readings, and I have
Me too.
problems with pet psychics too. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, I mean, Fluffy is not going to tell me if he has a tummy ache. So, the
Oh,
fact that
really?
you're telling me, it's like,
Uh,
I think everybody knows their pets. That's how they communicate with us.
sure.
But
Sure.
anyway, these are just my
These
beliefs
are
today,
just
whatever.
opinions. This is our
So,
perspective, and every
right,
psychic has their own view.
right.
Trust me. Yes.
Absolutely. And, so for third life, uh, past life readings, I've had a couple. And they just didn't resonate with me as who I am
Sure.
as a person and all like that. And then I kind of I'm the person that says, "You know what? I've got enough freaking problems in this life. I really don't care about my past life. And they're like, they're like, but Jackie, your past life made you who you are today. And I'm like, whatever. It doesn't change anything.
It
I have
doesn't
problems
change
in this
anything.
life.
This is what I'm
Yeah,
dealing with right
I
now.
want to live with the
Yes.
right now. And I'm very blessed that I have the gift of what's to come.
Yes.
You
Amen.
know?
Me too.
So, so I never really thought about it. And we did, if y'all are familiar with the paranormal, we did a convention in 2007 at Penn State University with A&E Network and Paranormal State. Okay. And in the route to Pennsylvania, we wound up in this little town. And Ellie, I knew the whole town.
I totally get it.
I knew the name. I knew where City Hall was. I knew where the church was, the bed and breakfast, where the mayor lived, where the cemetery was. And we stopped on the way to the trip, and we navigated this town. And I'm like, oh,
How did I
I really
know?
think I lived here.
That's
So this
amazing.
was more like it was a different form of deja vu, because deja vu is normally where you say or do something, you're like, wait a minute, I've done this before.
Correct.
But
Correct.
this was a deja vu that didn't stop. It lasted for over an hour.
Yeah. Where you were like, this is all way too familiar. How would I know
How
these
would I know
things?
this? Yeah, how would I
Yes.
know
Yes.
this?
Go left. There's Main Street. And you're
Yes,
like, wait,
right,
what?
right. And so when I went to my family with this, I had visited Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is nowhere near
No.
where I was in Pennsylvania, en route to Penn State. So they're like, no,
We've
Jackie,
never
you
drove
have
through there
never
when you
been
were a
there.
kid. This
And
wouldn't
I'm
be like
like,
the subconscious thing that you're bringing together. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I said, and I was asked then, do you think this was deja vu? And I'm like, it had to be a form of deja vu. Okay.
Well,
Past life
yeah.
memory or something. But usually your deja vu is like you're sitting there,
A
you're having
split
a
second.
conversation, and you're like,
This
"Oh,
happened before.
this
Yeah.
has happened before.
Well,
I know what the outcome of this
there's
is.
a
This
lot
has
of
happened before."
philosophies. There's a lot of theories about deja vu. I am I tend to be more like very science person. I like science a lot, and I have a hard time grasping like past lives for the same reason. And I'm also very much into being present.
Right.
But the concept of timelines comes up a lot when we talk about deja vu. Is
So,
this
so
you?
tell me some of your instances with deja vu.
Okay, so like having well the reason why I'm talking about timelines is the only way that I can justify the fact that I feel like that is happening again is not because of past lives. I take the perspective that there's another place and another time and there's another me having
Right.
that experience, and our energy is crossing in the same location at the same time.
That's an
That's
interesting
my
concept.
perspective. That's
Okay.
why I'm
That's a
like, this
good
is about
concept.
science,
It really is.
because my brain cannot handle or compute the concept of past lives. I just my whole soul breaks down, is like, no, and that might just be me. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes,
what
it
if
does. It's a great
everything?
concept. I mean, it's the way I have not thought of things before. It seems to me mine is connected with travel a lot of times. Like
Yeah,
I have directions and I'm going somewhere out in the country and I get to this field and I'm like, oh my God, this red barn's got,
I
I have
know where
been
this
here.
is.
I
I've
have
been
been
here
here.
before. Most
I've
of
been
my
here.
deja vu happens when I'm with people.
Yes.
Um, I'm with people and I'm like, this happened before. But I agree, it's really about travel. I'm never really at home. I'm
Right.
always somewhere else when I'm
But it
having deja
happens.
vu. There's another thing that I don't know, we could kind of go there.
Go
Listen,
ahead.
it's about to get wacky with Jackie. I'm just
Okay.
saying. Uh, you could go, there's this term called ascension, and we could probably do a topic on that, which
Okay.
is the idea, it's a new age concept that your soul, enters the body and you start to have a spiritual awakening of some kind, and you
Oh,
start to see
absolutely.
numbers and you start to have synchronicities. And during ascension you have a lot of deja vu because the your frequency of your body and your soul are coming together and it's adjusting to the energy.
It's
So there's another
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? So there's
Yes,
a
it's
lot of
absolutely
different
crazy.
philosophies, a lot of different theories. I think I wouldn't rule any of them out. And I
Right.
wouldn't just pick one. It's probably all of the things in certain ways creating deja
And
vu.
it's kind of, have you ever met somebody that you know this person, but you don't know this person?
Yes. Same thing.
And
Yes.
everybody's like, oh, well, everybody has a twin. And then you're like,
Like a
no,
doppelganger of some
no, I know
kind.
this person. I
Yeah,
know this
I've
person.
seen this person before. See, and that also lines up with my idea about
Consciousness.
timelines
Mhm.
and consciousness and how maybe there's multiple realities playing out,
Exactly.
and we just happen to be crossing paths or talking to the same exact person at that same time. It's not impossible. It's actually more probable than we might think, especially with science these days.
And in regards to Premonitions, I want to recommend, it's an older movie, but if you've ever seen Sandra Bullock's movie, Premonition,
Premonition, called Premonition. Excellent, excellent, excellent,
she's
excellent
having the
example.
dreams and they're driving her crazy to the point she's writing them down,
Yep.
you know, going back to those dream journals. We're going to talk about that too. But,
Yes.
she's writing them down and then she's watching it play out and she's adding to the story as that movie progresses.
This is a really good, we can definitely jump into this part. So, like,
Yes.
what if you're having deja vu? What if you're having what if
Yes.
you're having
Yes.
more dreams than often? What if you are seeing numbers everywhere? 11, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 1, 1, 8, 8, 8, all these things. I get asked these questions all the time. How many? Is it crazy that I see 11, 11 all the time? Things like
Exactly.
that. You
Yes.
see it often.
Yes.
And part of that is an energy thing, but it's also spirit talking to you, letting you know, like, I'm here, you're in alignment, things like that. Well, our brains, we're not, human beings are horrible record keepers. We're
Yes, we
not
are.
very good at memory.
No, we're not.
And so write everything
No.
down.
I have been
Write it
told
down.
by many to keep a dream journal, keep a dream journal. And took me years to actually go to the Dollar Tree, pick up this little spiral notebook and set it beside the bed. And let me tell you why. I'm not someone that dreams often, but when I do, they're significant. I pick up where I left off.
Oh, interesting. You're like lucid. You
Yeah.
remember.
So I'm going to dream. I'm going to bed. I'm having this dream. And then I wake up and I'm like,
Ah,
the hell made me dream that? And I get up and I have something to drink and I go to the
sure.
bathroom, walk the house for 30 minutes, and I go back to bed and I pick up where I left
I
off.
love that. I love
And then,
that. Goals.
or then I wake up that morning and the next night I go to bed and I'm picking up where I left off in the dream.
Interesting.
So that dream journal became crucial to me.
So that you could actually like remember and then go back in, that
And
kind of
then
thing. Would you go back and reference?
and then you go back and you reference your dream journal and there's an actual message there. Okay.
Awesome.
Now I do dream interpretation, so that message may come a little clearer than others, but those people that actually did it, actually bought the notebook,
Yes.
actually wrote it down, went
You will
back
see
and looked what they
results.
wrote down a couple of days later of writing stuff down, and the
Yep.
message was there, painfully clear
Listen,
of what it was about.
I have a mom who is also very, very, very psychic. And
Yes.
she didn't do any of this for a living. She went on and became her own badass self
Right.
elsewhere. And but she's always used her intuition. And one of the
Yes.
things that I get her every year is a new journal. My mom is an avid writer, and
Nice.
she's in her 60s now. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be 50 journals full of stories and experiences and memories. And
So
she'll
gonna
go
love that.
back.
Yeah.
Now it's of great value because now
And
you have
reference
so
something.
much and reference stuff. Or she'll feel like the feeling to pull one out. She'll open it up to a page and it's completely relevant
To
to what
what's
she's
going on
going
now.
on right now. There's it's a long-term experience. I think we want an instant answer. We want immediate results, those kinds of things, because it can hang in the back of our mind, inside of our hearts. And we want to know right now, what was that about? Sometimes things take a very long time. Like Jackie said,
Yes.
spirit is on its
Yes.
own timeline.
Yes.
And so you
Yes.
don't know why you're writing this or having this dream until later. It's
One of my
true.
one of my dream journals It wasn't a dream journal. It was in the back of a scrap of a notebook. You know, the
Oh,
notebook
yes.
that you write the grocery list on and what bills to pay and da 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 da. I just opened it up a couple times to write down my dream or whatever. That notebook got thrown in, later on what was my office. Okay. But I did date it. I always jot the date down.
Timestamp everything, y'all.
Timestamp it.
Timestamp it.
I wrote the date down, and one day I was in there and we were getting ready to paint my office. Okay. And I come across the notebook, it kind of fell out, and it fell open to this particular dream. And my notes on that dream after rereading it said, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. And what it was describing was my home office.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
Okay. Down
Because
to
it
the
wasn't something that had come to pass yet. It wasn't something that was even
right,
manifested
right.
yet.
It was the curtains. It was the appearance of the office. It was me working from home, and it was all right there. And it made no sense because I worked in corporate America at the time.
She
that
was
this
not
dream
planning
occurred.
to do any of this.
No,
Yes.
no, I
Yes.
wasn't planning on anything. But when you looked at the date, it was like 2.5 years later
Mhm.
that the home office and all had occurred.
This
But
is
then the
making
dream made total sense.
I love
Like,
this conversation on, so this is making me actually think about literally last week. This is
yeah,
I guess a parallel, right? It's a little bit of a
right,
sidebar, but it's relevant. So somebody had gifted one of her girlfriends a session,
right,
and one of her parents had passed away very recently within the last couple of months, and she was just really struggling.
right.
And non-believer, none of that, but like
Mhm.
Jenny just knew, like, I got to give this to her. So they had a conversation, and her mom immediately comes up and like, I know that this maybe wasn't what you were planning on having, but blah blah blah. Long story short, all these cool things happened. She's a believer. We hang up, and she's like, what did you do? She texts me, what did you do? I'm like, what do you mean? And she sends me this picture. She goes, I went to go write down everything that we just talked about so I don't forget.
Right.
And I grabbed a journal I wouldn't normally grab, and I open it up, and it was there's the sticker for the visitor pass when she was visiting her mom in the
Oh, wow.
hospital.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, you're real. This is amazing. Like, I can't believe, because what are the odds, right? So
Signs.
it can
Yeah.
it can cross over into our waking life when we're having these conversations and we're having these experiences. One of the things that I said to her at the end of the session, now when we're channeling, guys, I call it psychic amnesia. Like, sometimes I
Right.
don't remember what
Right.
I'm
What's
saying
going
to
on?
you
Right.
guys.
Right.
And I once she told me, I remembered. I told her, I said, I think your mom's going to come to you in a dream. And the next day she messaged me. She's like, I can't wait to speak to you again. She absolutely came to me in a dream. I feel so much more at peace. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Sometimes it takes a third party. It can take a third party to
And
bring
that's like I
spirit
said,
forward.
I love dream interpretation because
Me
I just
too.
want to hear your wild ride and tell you what it actually means.
What do
Your
you do?
dreams matter, people. Your
What do
dreams
you do
matter.
when you have somebody who is having very violent dreams, or dreams of people
Nightmares.
being nightmares? Things like, my ex-husband's going to break in and they're going to hurt me, or things like that. How
A
can you tell
lot,
whether or not that's a
a,
premonition or not?
a lot of times you will know that those nightmares are a redirection. You know,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
it's the redirection is coming, and you know it, and you feel it, and you're picking it up. And not everything is bad in a dream. People panic when they see a snake in a dream. Okay.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Automatically that is assumed to be Satan, and there's the serpent and all.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, was it a green garden snake passing through, or was it a
Black
anaconda trying to
moccasin,
swallow
right?
you?
Some sort of like, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And even if it was the anaconda trying to swallow you, there is
what
your
does that represent?
redirection. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're feeling overcome. What is swallowing you? Something is
Crazy.
bogging you down.
The crazy dreams that I have had, I used to call it my night crew, like my
Yeah.
night do is like cleaning up all the things.
The
And so when I'm
debris.
having those dreams, it's like my mental janitor is coming and just mopping
Yes.
things up and
Yes.
letting us know. If you're having nightmares, there's something coming up that you need to address. And it's
Absolutely.
always subconscious.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it could be something that is to come. A lot of times you are being redirected, or let's go back to what I
Just a
said.
heads up.
Ellie calls me and said there's an anaconda swallowing her. Okay. It is bowed up. It's literally, just taking her on.
If I have this dream, I'm coming for you. I'm just saying. Okay, go ahead.
But to me, that would tell me there's something in her life that is completely overwhelming and she feels like she's drowning. So there's where we need to start. That's
Been
what we
there,
need to look
felt
at.
that way before, feel like I'm being swallowed up, so when you're having dreams, you can ask yourself, how did it feel?
Mhm.
What were you working out through it?
Right.
Who was there? What was
And
there?
and and there again, if you write all these down,
You won't
but
forget.
you won't forget, but you'll actually see that message pop off the page
Very
to you
clear. It'll be
very
very, very,
clearly.
very clear. Our memories, they don't serve us sometimes, it's very frustrating when you wake up and you're like, gosh, I got to remember that in 5 minutes, it's gone.
Right.
If you're lazy like me, because I'm not going to do it. I have discovered the wonderful app called the voice recorder, the voice memo.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
will talk it. I'll be like, I had a dream that blah, 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 blah. Or you can text someone, send them a message, send yourself a message, text yourself,
Email it to you.
email it to yourself. Then
Yeah.
that automatically has a digital timestamp on it.
I have
So
emailed myself so many times on stuff I don't want to forget, and it's like,
I mean, I say I psychic myself all the time. There's so much stuff that I'm getting myself into or interested in or being shown, and then later it becomes relevant.
right. And I think people need to know it happens to us just as well as it happens to
Oh
them.
yes.
So we get
Oh,
it. We
definitely.
totally get it. Yeah.
What else? I mean, I think when it comes to dreams, everybody's different. Like what a snake may represent to Jackie may be different to me.
Right.
If Jackie loves reptiles and she loves snakes and
Mm,
she is dreaming that, well, I know what's probably not our thing, but I'm just saying as an
right. Right.
example,
Right.
Jackie in the other parallel universe, she
Right.
loves snakes,
Right.
and she's having dreams of snakes. That's not going to be a scary experience for her. That's not going to be something that makes her uncomfortable. Do you feel like deja vu on a very regular basis matters? Do you think it's something to look at? Do you think it's important?
I think it's someone trying to relay a message to you.
You're getting a message from spirit when you're having
You're
deja
getting
vu.
a message from spirit. Something is trying to get your attention,
I
and
can hop on that.
you need to figure out what is trying to get your attention.
Really, this is
What did
philosophy based
what is
too.
the message? What's the message?
What's the message? Why am I here? So let me ask you this. Now that
Uh-huh.
you've known that you've traveled to that place and you probably lived there in, this small town and you feel like you had that experience, what was the message for you? What do you think it was?
I think it was maybe to open my eyes to past life experiences,
Sure. Sure.
because it was, like I said, it wasn't a deja vu of, oh, I've been here. It was very
An
detailed.
hour of like
Yeah. Let me
geographical
navigate
cognitive.
and confirm myself of what I seem to know. So, yeah, but if you cannot figure this out, let me give y'all our contact
Oh my
information.
gosh. Yes. Yes. It's
Okay.
hard. It's hard to
It
understand
is.
these things for
And
ourselves.
like I said, dreams, this is one thing I absolutely take a delight in doing. So,
Yes.
all right. So we have Ellie Lieberman as BeGuidedByTheLight.com. Okay. Her phone number is 818-427-3870. And of course, I am Jackie Tomlin. It is JackieTomlin.com. My phone number is 804-731-2302. You may text either one of these phone numbers.
Yes.
If you're interested in calling in, we want to hear from you. Okay. The
Please
email
do.
to the show is whenspiritspeakspodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. And if you
I'm
want to be a
excited to
guest, we
do
want to hear
these.
from you too. So,
I'm excited to do these call-ins. I think they're going to be great.
yeah. And I
Um,
mean, take the opportunity to find that pressing question that
Yeah.
question you need an answer
Be
to.
ready.
You've got
Yeah.
2 psychics to answer you.
If you're in a crossroads or you're wondering if is he going to propose or am I going to go on a trip or should I take this job? These are great examples of questions that you can
Or if you
ask.
had a dream you wanna discuss.
Yes. Yes. I would love
We
that.
we are pretty much open to about anything on that psychic paranormal realm. And, yeah, I mean, we wanna hear from you, and the show has been great. Ellie, can you believe we're
I
sitting here
love it.
today on episode 9?
It's crazy. How did that even happen?
I
Do you
know.
see numbers? Can I ask you that? Do you ever
Uh,
see numbers? Do you see repeat numbers? Like
I do.
111 or
I do.
yeah, me too. Has that always happened or is that
That
like when did that
happened.
happen?
Yeah, I think it's happened all the time. And
Yeah,
and
me
and I
too.
get many people ask, "Jackie, I'm seeing 111," and I'm seeing, yeah, I think it happens to all of us,
A
and
lot of
it's
people ask me why
perception.
that's happening, and I just tell people, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Time is something that we all have in common, and it shows you that you're in alignment. When you're seeing a lot of numbers, your frequency is very high, your vibration is very high. And
Exactly.
so it happens now so much for me. It's pretty normal. I used to like take pictures and I used to like, take a picture of the license plate and like screenshot everything. And now it's happened so much that it's just
It
part of my
just
life.
it's just part of your lifestyle, and you come to play. And now, I had people tell me, and they said, "I've seen these numbers. I've been playing these numbers for 3 years. These numbers have not hit." Well, then that's not what those numbers meant.
True. It's true. I also want to say that if you ever ask me what the lottery numbers are, I'm going to tell you I don't know.
No,
Trust
we
me, I'd
don't.
be playing for them. I'd be playing them for myself.
I'm willing to bet that what Mega Millions, I think, is 1.3
One
million billion
1.3 billion.
billion right now, that if we knew the numbers to those, we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast today.
Absolutely. We'd have our own studio and I'd have a private plane and we'd be
I was like, we'd be on vacation discussing what is the next step.
Aruba, here I come. Let's go.
Exactly.
But
We are on
you
vacation.
can
We will be back, with a whole new show. So
I can say though, like always follow your gut no matter what. If you feel like you should buy the scratcher, if you feel like you should go do this thing, if you should go left, if she should go right, those are
and people
vibes.
ask me, do I play? Yes, I play just like
Me
you
too.
do. Okay. Like I
Yep.
cannot win Mega Millions unless I have a ticket.
You
Okay.
have you have to play to
So
win.
I don't play the numbers. I let the computer generate it, but I do buy scratch offs if it speaks to me.
Yes, me too.
Do
I
I
usually win.
always? I was gonna say, do I always win? No. Do I usually
No,
win? I do.
me too. And it's never some insane amount of money either. It's like just enough to cover my
50
ticket and a little bit
bucks.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
something like that. And it's just fun. It's just fun.
Follow I guess the advice I would give, if any of this is resonating through the whole show, is to just document everything.
Yes.
Follow your gut.
Timestamp it. Put that date
Time,
on it.
trust me, you think you're going to remember, you're not going to remember. It's
Nope.
very hard to. Why put that level of pressure on yourself? Also, you don't want to like tell someone and then not have proof. It is fantastic to have that proof and say, hey, see, I wrote down at this time, at this day, and look, it's happening. This is very validating. It's
I
very
have,
validating.
this is no lie. We were going through pictures of an old cell phone. Okay. An old cell phone. And there's my daughter at the back door, and she has on gloves and a face mask, and she's making fun of me. Okay. Because I told her, I said, this is what we're headed to. And it was it was like 18 months prior to COVID
Interesting.
hitting. And she's making fun of me. And I took a picture of her because she looked like a fool with her face mask on and these gloves. And she's like, really, Jackie, we're going to walk around in public looking like this.
Interesting.
And I took the picture and I'm like, yes.
It's
So,
really nice to have that proof. And look, we all have our intuition. This is why we're doing this. Every
yes,
person, every human being, you ever think of someone and had them call, these are all precognitive, premeditative, premonitions. These are feelings, these are
exactly.
vibes.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
like I said, it's important you timestamp the stuff.
Yeah.
My home
Mhm.
office dream was 2 years before I worked at home, so you never.
That's crazy to have that kinds of heads up ahead of time.
Yes,
I feel like when that happens, I feel really in alignment. It makes me feel really good. It deepens my faith. It makes me trust
Exactly.
myself. The more experiences that you do have like this and you are on point, you will have a lot more faith in your intuition to be able to trust it more. That's how Jackie and I are okay, even when things are
Yes.
not okay, because
Yes.
we know it's all going to work out for
It's
you.
all going to come out. Yep.
Most things are temporary, and your feelings are temporary.
Yep.
You can change how you view things.
Yep.
You're in control. That's my advice for you this week is remember you're in control. You're gonna be fine.
That's
Nothing
right.
is bad. You're all right. Well, there you
Retro
go.
is almost over and we're
It's almost
all
over.
in it together.
Yes, by the time of our next show, it should be done. So we'll be good to go. And if you guys have questions, you want to talk about retro, send us an email, when spirit speaks podcast
Yep.
at gmail.com. Okay.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day. We have enjoyed it and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.